It's a very nice countdown, Pat. Very nicely timed. Modern day metronome over here.
I don't think you've ever once appreciated. It's like Jesse always has a critique of my cooking, which isn't the best, but it's not the worst. I think our version of that is you having a problem with the way I've counted in the show for like 4 years. Instead of volunteering to do it yourself, you sit, because I'm always like, yeah, Jess, feel free, hop in. She's like, no, I mean, the stir fry is not that bad. That's like, okay, yeah, all right, maybe we zip it a little bit. Or wait until we've cleared the table, at least, you monsters. Anyway, so yeah, it's like, feel free to take over or change anything about the process. Anyway, but that's, anyway, yes, so I saw something on, hey, Tom, here's the planned intro, everybody. Hey, Tom, I saw something on Twitter. Did you see this thing? No, there was a video of someone, like a jogger in California, running near wildfires and trying to stomp them out, which was kind of a futile effort, I guess, as you can imagine.
Right.
And someone quote tweeted it, and it was like, this is what it feels like to buy stamps right now, which I thought was pretty funny. That all of that is to say that Twitter has been talking about the album Give Up like way more than it ever has, I feel like, because everyone's making that same joke about referencing the Postal Service or Ben Gibbard when they bring up, what's happening to the Postal Service at the moment, which is kind of what got us thinking about this and wanting to do an episode about the music video for Such Great Heights. But what's interesting to me is you're telling me a shrimp fried this rice joke became like, I guess, Twitter lore. And then for our, I guess, subgenre, whatever, more like Great Charlotte became the shrimp fried rice tweet for our like subgenre. Anyway, But now people are coming back into like show topic related things and referencing Ben Gibbard a lot in relation to the Postal Service. Anyway, I did not do a very good job of summing up the fact that it's top of mind. We want to talk about it. Buy stamps, vote. Voter suppression is a special form of evil. And anyway, we're going to talk about the Postal Service. Go buy stamps if you want. I don't know if that's what this episode is supposed to be for, but that's why it's top of mind for me. And I don't know about you, Tom. Save me here a little bit. I don't know if we want to just hit the intro and get into it, but that's kind of why we're choosing to do something from the Postal Service this week.
There you go. Great job, bud. Let's start the show.
You were just letting me flounder.
What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent podcast. That was great. I loved all the comments on the guy trying to stomp out the wildfire with his feet. Oh, God. And, it seems like one of those things where CGP Grey, who's like my favorite personality on the internet, he was talking about people that do like the clap emoji in between their tweets, or in between like every syllable of their words. And he's like, it's always really funny because people are always like, bad thing is bad. Like they're never saying anything. And to me, that the futile attempts of stomping out a fire seemed like maybe he was doing it just in the camera for the hero points. But either way, a good effort. I thought it was hilarious. Just people were having fun with it. And sometimes, people talk about Twitter being this cesspool. Man, you're in control of what you see. And sometimes you can see a lot of pretty uplifting things. So I love Twitter. It's my go-to for sure.
Yeah, it's the ultimate, control your own timeline, I suppose. But yeah, it's nice to see everyone. Well, what's interesting about the show is how many emo kids there are left over from what we all survived, I guess. No, just the 2000s in general. So to see even like blue check marked up, pretty prominent people making jokes about Give Up, while I guess while the Republic burns around us, I guess. So it's not that funny, but it's interesting to see how aware of, I guess, the subgenre everyone is, which I guess we knew, but when we started the show, we were felt like we were on our own vacuum for so long. But I guess that's what I was trying to say before the intro. And what's funny, you commenting on the countdown, is before you were like, hey, what's our 90-second intro going to be? Just let me just stumble, fumble, bumble all the way through. It just reminded me, it was like kind of an equivalent to that. But anyway, we're here. We're happy to be here. And we're happy to be apparently providing drinking game fodder for some of our listeners. I don't know if you want to take this one, but That was one of my favorite tweets we received from you all recently, I gotta say.
I thought that was so good. So Chris is a buddy of mine that I met at a podcast conference. He's also a podcaster, a huge pop punk nerd, probably more than even we are. And he came up with a drinking game for specifically the Good Charlotte episode from last week. If we mention Liberty Spikes, drink. If Pat says, okay, let's move on, and then doesn't drink.
Just gutted me. There was a body count in his tweet. Is all I have to say. Just devastated.
Oh God,
the accuracy,
so
though.
Good. Yeah, you even did it in the intro. You're like, all right, let's move on. But tried to say something else.
They do it on the Scrubs rewatch pod a lot. When Donald says, "You know what I mean," or "You know what I'm saying," when he's telling a story, he relies on that phrase a lot. So they did a drinking game around that on that program. But Chris was also, whenever Tom misinterprets a lyric, would also count. So he came after us both equally. So I appreciate being, just with his, just tearing us down efficiently. It was very awesome. And also, we should note that he finished the tweet by saying, "And now I'm hammered at 3 p.m. on a Friday, and I blame Good Charlotte." So,
well, he probably would be anyways. So.
Hey, it's the pandemic. If
we're exposing flaws, Chris.
Whoa,
no, I'm
coming
joking.
Back at him.
No.
We're feuding with all of you. No, we referenced somebody pretty recently who was asking with the intro music. I was like, you know what? You shouldn't apologize at all for not knowing this because no one asked about it, and now I hate all of you. We're feuding with all of you, so we're mad at all of you right now. So anyone who hasn't asked is our mortal enemy forever, and that one new listener is our only friend in this world. Just kidding,
Yep.
you all. You have some fast facts, if I'm not mistaken, old boy.
There's a lot, so I think we might have to refer to them this week as fun facts because they are not going to happen quickly. I'll tell you that.
Hey, let's have some fun. I remember I opened the doc this week, and sometimes I just to get it done or in my Google Docs so I can reference it later, I'll just throw some stuff and create it and send it to you. But you created this one first and had you've outdone yourself, and I'm excited to learn today, really. Because we've done a good Give Up album episode, but this is specifically the Such Great Heights music video, which is rather strange.
Yeah, I mean, the music video was weird and intriguing enough to know that there had to be a lot of information behind this. Because it's so whatever, we'll get to it later, but...
Can I do my one joke about Ben Gibbard?
Sure.
I do it every time, but... Is this a music video involving Ben Gibbard, or is it any given 3 minutes from The Science of Sleep? Laugh track. I've used it before. I'll use it again. I don't even care. I only have 4 good takes in me, and people who listen to the show are very aware of that.
Let me respond to you with, is this a music video featuring Ben Gibbard, or is this just an episode of How It's Made on the Discovery Channel? Because that's kind of
it could be any.
It seems like.
I like that.
I mean, we'll get to it. It's a very weird and interesting music video with a ton of background information on it, which we don't always get. So, a lot of things. First of all, this is seems like it's one of the most covered songs of all time. There was a ton of people covering it. We all know the Iron and Wine cover that actually they released on their deluxe edition or whatever. They were on the same label as Sub Pop. And who was the other one that you liked? They were also on the same label. There was a cover you liked of this.
Oh no, I think I've been pretty staunchly against. Oh, I mean, I liked the Shins covering "We Will Become Silhouettes," but I don't know if I've ever liked Such Great Heights.
Never mind. Okay, gotcha. Well, there's a whole section on their Wikipedia of famous covers of this song, and there are many. But okay, couple timeline things. Released in January of 2003, sold 25,000 copies by August 2004. The label was a little bummed out that it didn't reach the commercial success that they wanted, so they put out a bunch of covers essentially, and it ended up being certified gold by June 2005. That's 500,000 copies, and they put a free download of this on their website. 9 million free downloads by August 2005, which again, this is before streaming, people are still torrenting and stuff, but 500,000 people paid for it. 9 million people downloaded it for free. There's something wrong with the music industry to this day. But I had never heard this before. It was the original theme song for Grey's Anatomy. Did you know that?
No, but I love that so much. Every once in a while, we'll stumble into a weird factoid that is a pretty 2000s sentence. And that's got to be in the top 50 2000s realizations we've come to on this program. So I'm just going to let that soak in while you continue. But that's tremendous. I like that a lot. And I did not know that before this.
We'll keep it going on
Props
that.
to Grey's Anatomy. What did they change it to?
I don't
also,
know.
that show's still on. Postal Service isn't still pumping out music. So who won there? Grey's Anatomy.
Right. So the Iron and Wine cover was in the Garden State soundtrack, which is like the pinnacle of like early 2000s indie bullshit. But that's actually what brought this song sadly into popularity, as if it's not an absolutely incredible song on its own. Anyways, and it was featured in a ton of commercials, including a United States Postal Service commercial, which I think is so fun. And
I actually did not know that. Do they have any details about the ad itself? No, I'm fascinated.
It's recent.
Huh.
Yeah, let me check it out. So I remember seeing this like not that long ago, and I just heard like the beeping, you know, boop, 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 boop. I was like, no, this is the Postal Service.
I guess with how many jokes that have been made on Twitter in the last month about the Postal Service and the Postal Service, I guess the Postal Service and the Postal Service had already figured out their similarities prior to this. Maybe it's just more well-known. Maybe we're not as like in a cocoon as we thought. Like there's just a very successful, I think we've been coming to that realization lately. Like some of these bands were just mainstream successful, and that's something we got to deal with, I guess.
It gets even crazier though, because they didn't start off as friends. They were mortal enemies for a minute, and then they settled a lawsuit. All right,
the Postal Service and the Postal Service?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So they named the band the Postal Service because when they were recording and writing the album, they were sending each other demo CDs through the United States Postal Service. So like this was before Dropbox, and they really made it hard on themselves, but it's cool that like they built this thing through physical mail. So they named it the Postal Service, and eventually the band kind of blew up, and they got a letter from the US Postal Service saying, we can't do this, guys. Like, we can't share the same name. So it was kind of a lawsuit, but they were like interested in coming to an agreement. So they settled the lawsuit with the Postal Service by agreeing to play at a US Postal Service convention as the entertainment. And it gets even weirder. For a brief time, they were selling their record on the website, the United States Postal Service website, and you could buy a copy of the album, of the physical album at Postal Service.
Can you imagine
stores?
Emo kids unite to save the Republic. Like, because people were saying like, hey, the best way you can do it, just generally is to buy stamps, if you want to support the Postal Service in the last few months heading into like the mail-in ballot season or whatever. But that is, can you imagine though, like if right now it's like, if there was like a grassroots emo effort to like save the Postal Service by buying Give Up, like the 10th anniversary deluxe edition off of the website, they should just hook it up. Like they should relaunch that.
Totally.
Actually, let's just do that. I might tweet it while we were recording this because
they should put it on vinyl and sell them at Postal Service stores and give, the profits to the U.S. Postal Service. That'd be dope.
Bring it back. I, for one,
huge.
I think that would blow up and, interesting. I guess I did buy some books of stamps recently, but yeah, I would have, the records probably wouldn't sell fast enough. That's just a hunch, I think.
And it takes so long to manufacture vinyl that they might not even be out in time.
Yeah, true. Tom, I got just a little hint, just a little positivity. We had a draft recently, or either after this. Again, the recording and release schedule is getting mixed up in my pandemic brain. These are some swell facts, my friend. I'm really enjoying this. I'm just going to sit back once more, but you've really outdone yourself this week. I just wanted to give some credit where credit's due.
I'm still going, man.
I'm enjoying it. I'm in it. I'm like, you've blown my mind twice already. I'm like, this is very informative and fun. Let's keep this train rolling.
All right, I've got so much. I'm like so proud of myself for this.
You should be. No, and if people are listening and you're new to the show, not everything is a joke and me and Tom yelling at each other. It's like, nice job, buddy. I'm liking this. Or last man on earth phrasing would be like, way to go, bud. Anyway.
So the music video takes place in like a manufacturing facility, and it's a real fabrication plant called Skywork Solutions, which is the logo on the bunny suits that they're wearing in the video. So they
Which
didn't
is
even
either
make like,
it's either artsy or low budget. Either way, it's fine.
I know. So yeah, it's a real processing facility. And this was so weird. On some of the chips, they have their logo on the chips, and you can see that after the one kind of weird CGI shot of it zooming out from the satellite, and you see that they're like in a satellite, whatever. We'll talk about it.
Oh, we'll talk about it.
You can see that the chip is blurred out, but other times it's not blurred out. And it's so fascinating to me. If you watch like reality TV, which, not proud of it, but like sometimes if you look at someone's shirt, you'll see like the Adidas logo, and then other times it's blurred out. And I don't know if there's like, you can only show it a certain amount of times or if they just miss it sometimes. I know at one point I was like on set for the filming of one of Mike Rowe's TV shows, and I'm wearing a licensed Zelda t-shirt, and the producer was like, "Is that a licensed t-shirt?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Damn it." Like he was so pissed at me for wearing it because either they had to pay for the right to show it or they had to blur it. And I was on screen 3 times. They blurred it once and they showed it twice. So I was like, what? It's very fascinating, like if it's intentional or if it's not. So I saw some of that throughout the video. Sometimes the logo is blurred, sometimes it's not. Very prominently displayed on the bunny suits. Interesting. And at one point, I was watching the video and I was like, this looks too good to be CGI, especially for 2003, 2004. And I saw a Siemens logo, which like, right, on one of the chips. I was like, oh, this is like a real facility that they're just filming in, which again kind of gave it that like how it's made kind of vibe. And the most interesting thing about all of this is the video producer should have went with Shane Drake because he would not have done the Postal Service dirty like this. Apparently he basically just recut a lot of the footage and then sold it to Apple and sold it to Intel without the band's permission or even their knowledge. Just like recut and resold the music video twice to 2 different companies.
If you wrong Ben Gibbard, you wrong us. So
Right.
I would have met this person, but I hate them on Ben's behalf.
Just super interesting that they were like, I don't even think they got into lawsuits. He was just, because I think the dude had the right to do that because it was his footage. And I don't think the music was in it, but they took out any cuts of like the people. It was just the processing plant. And it's super scummy, but I kind of want to find those commercials now because it's interesting that someone would have done that with such a popular band. It's not like it's going to fly under the radar. And especially with Apple and Intel, like everyone's going to see that commercial and see the similarities. But yeah.
Can you imagine a time where Apple has made a habit of having like the trendy new indie group be the voice of their commercials like 8 months before they pop for like the last, I guess, 15 years now.
Which is like where Charlie XCX got her star, right?
Oh, really? But it wouldn't shock me.
I don't care.
I think that's Icona Pop. But that is a very good song.
Was she in that band?
I don't believe so, but maybe I could be wrong. It's a great song though. Like unfairly good. I really love that. But it's interesting to think of like, I don't know, that long ago with the Postal Service being like fodder for an early Apple commercial or something. I don't know if that was the case or what you were getting at, but time has passed, I guess. We've entered no, I'm just kidding. We haven't entered the depressed we're old now part of the show yet. But yeah, that I guess that could have been in play at that time period. So pretty wild. Oh,
Charlie XCX wrote the Icona Pop song.
Oh, okay.
According to the bio on Apple, because I remember hearing something about that. Yeah, TV shows.
She's had a wild career. It was like Boom Clap was in that one like teen romance movie, and then her career was just like very different from that album forward. It was just like, I don't want to go to school. I just want to break the rules. And then it was like, no, we're just going to be super intense. And like, it just took an immediate turn in a very cool way. But it was like, I wonder if she'll be the Boom Clap girl forever. Absolutely not. It's been quite different since that point in time. All great. Yeah. She's very talented, but very interesting.
So that's really like all I have on the facts. I know we talked like a couple anecdotes for the Give Up episode, which you can find the link to in the show notes. But oh God, I've said this so many times, and I don't want to just like keep repeating the same stories. And I feel like the further and further we get into this show,
learning that there's a finite amount of anecdotes.
No, seriously. But for any new listeners, like for any new listeners, the fact that I love the Postal Service is a miracle / anomaly. So back in 8th grade, our buddy James McCallion, who's one of the music Sherpas for this show, introduced, I think, Pat and I to this band probably around the same time. And he had me listen to The District Sleeps Alone Tonight, which, by the way, we have an incredibly awesome t-shirt up for sale. You've got to check it out in the show notes. I bought one, and it's an old Postal Service logo, like the USPS with, anyway, check it out. It's really cool.
And that's a boss move. I made it, and then I bought it.
So I heard it, and I was like, this is the lamest, whiniest emo bullshit I've ever heard in my life. I hated it.
I remember a grade school crush of mine, or junior high crush, was like, referred to it as like, it sounded cultish, like cult music to her or something. I don't even know how to process. That was the beginning of the end of that crush. But it was man. What are you even trying to say? I don't even, on what level would that even make sense? But she was not a fan. I'm like, this is, we're going in different directions. That's okay. I'm at peace with it. I am so immediately at peace with it based on whatever that analysis of Give Up is, because it was so important to me at the time. I didn't like make a scene or anything, but it was just like, one of those times when something clicks in your brain and you're like, I got to get out of this situation because my life is just going to be different after this moment. You know what I mean? Like, I'm probably not going to talk to you as much forever. You know, I don't know if you've ever had that with like talking to people, you just kind of realize something you should have been realizing for a long time, maybe. But it's like, I'm not even mad. I'm more mad at myself, I guess. Goodbye. So long, everyone. I'll smell you later, I guess. On one level, it was like, okay, it's fine. You don't have to like, but sometimes in high school, it's nice to bond over music, whatever, with your crush, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. And it's like, oh, I don't like it because it sounds like something a cult might listen to. I'm like, man, in 15 years, there's going to be a ton of cult documentaries on a thing called Netflix, and cult culture will be very apparent to everyone. There's going to be a podcast called Utopia. People will be very familiar with how cults rise and fall and the inner workings of this and that. But at this point, given our education level, being 7th grade in a very small town in a very poorly funded school district, how in the hell could that be accurate? A, B, make sense on any conceivable. I don't know. It was just very like, wow, that is a scorching, blazing hot take. It was just so wild to me.
Oh my God.
And I don't think I mentioned that on the Give Up episode because I don't know if my brain was trying, it was a repressed memory or something.
You know, actually, people say that like the Postal Service is like a cult, has a cult following. You know, it's not like this, you know.
Yeah, but the term cult following is different than like, I don't know, something somebody would sacrifice a lamb to. Like, I picture that more as like maybe more of a very Whitechapel-y metal vibe or something. Or again, we mentioned Gregorian chants on the show, probably more than we should, but maybe more of a Gregorian chant thing. Like, that's when you break out the Gregorian chant. But I don't know if I'm going to be rocking out to Clark Gable, if I'm going to be like sacrificing anybody to the gods or dumping them into a volcano and so anyway, yeah, I'm surprised that didn't come up in the
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it was just a young person being like, wow, you've been my only crush for like a full decade and it's over now. Okay then. All right. It was so immediate, it was shocking to even me. But so now, credit where credit's due, it's a bold hot take. It's a bold hot take. I got to give it's like no one else has had that take, I'm pretty sure. So credit for originality. Sorry, I'll let you go. I've been, as Twitter users have pointed out, Pat spirals mid-show pretty often, and apparently it's quite apparent. So yeah, I'll cede the floor.
So yeah, my interaction with the song has been completely the opposite. I didn't like it. And randomly, this like youth pastor at my church, two things happened simultaneously. We were like at a show at like they always had like hardcore shows at like our church's youth center. And he's like, do you like the Postal Service? And I was like, oh, it's so emo and whiny and I hate it. And he like begged me to reconsider. He's like, I will buy you the CD. I really want you to give this a second chance. And right around this time,
can you paint the scene a little better for us? Like how and when was, like when you reference these on the show, you say like people like sit you down like a 90s sitcom like Phil and Will Smith on the set of Fresh Prince being like, some music plays like, now Will, I got something to talk to you about. Turns a chair backwards or something. Like, can you just paint the picture of how these people are approaching you and pleading with you to embrace certain albums throughout your life?
Dude, I don't know. It was like in between sets at a hardcore show. We're standing like at the edge of the pit with our arms crossed like tough guys do. Mm-hmm. And he was just like kind of like leaned in. You like the Postal Service? Like, that was it.
That's you snuck in some very sharp pit commentary there right in the middle of that, which I appreciate very much.
So in my head, it was at the Attack show. I don't think it was, but I know well. I did f up the pit at an Attack show when I was 17. Anyways, okay.
Do you remember we used to? No, I'm just gonna keep squeezing this in. Sorry, we'll get to the music video very soon, I promise. And I'll just stop interrupting Tom. For the rest of the time we record this show for the years to come, I will no longer do that, I promise. But we used to just like crouch and throw our arms in the air and do like a Wild Thornberry's Wild Child run in the middle of pits. And it was so effective at like, it was more SpongeBob-y maybe with like our tongues out like, and then just like run in the middle. If people were acting too tough, it was kind of like, in golf, if you're too close to somebody and you hit and it, like the ball almost hits them, but they're near the green, they'll just put the ball in the hole as like a you, I guess. But it's kind of like, okay, man, if you're going to be trying to send people to the hospital, we would go SpongeBob on pits to like kind of disrupt the flow. Like, okay, if we're going to make a mockery of it, we might as well just, go wild on it. But it was so, people would be like, what in the are you doing? And it brought me some joy to that. You were a little more intense in actually going into pits. Whenever I was in it, I was usually doing the SpongeBob thing with you. So and I was like, this is all so silly to me. But anyway.
I feel like I found a video of you in a pit somewhere. I don't remember. I was looking through, again, my old Motorola Razr footage, because when I get bored, that's what I do. I swear I found a video of you, everyone doing a circle pit and you just like bouncing off of everyone, like trying to be as annoying as possible. Oh man, I'll have to find that. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Okay, so in my mind, we're at an Attack show and he's like, listen to the Postal Service. And then this girl that I really, really liked, loved them. So I kind of like gave it another try for her. And then I loved the Postal Service. Such Great Heights was always like a good song, but I never really loved it until years later. This girl who was always just a friend, but we kind of had this like, I think just in our minds, a will they, won't they thing. And I didn't know she played guitar or sang, and she like started playing the Iron and Wine cover of Such Great Heights one night when we were hanging out. And it was just like, oh God, this girl can sing and play guitar. Like, what is this cover? So there's always like a soft spot in my heart for the Iron and Wine cover, just because like feeling like, damn, am I in love with this girl now? Like for the next 4 minutes. But, that's most of my like relationship with this song over the years. But
would you call that subway love?
What's that mean?
Like, I don't know if it's a thing, but wait, sorry, back up. This is somebody you knew or didn't know?
No, I knew her.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Sometimes when we don't use names, it was like, wait a minute, do I know this person? We always ask each other, like, we can cut this out. But I thought you were implying that perhaps this was a girl that you didn't know and you were just near at a show and you were like trying to work up the courage to talk to her or whatever. But to me, it's like when you're on a subway or public transit and it's like for the length of that trip, there's a chance maybe someone your age is on the car and you're like, I wonder what it would be like to marry that person and live with them for 70 years. Or, just like, or I don't know if that's would be the right term for it, but you daydream a little bit and then it's like, well, okay, my stop's here. So I'll get off and never see this person again.
Yeah. We were friends for like a few years. And when I would come home from DC, we would hang out, but like nothing ever happened between us. We were just really good friends. But I guess like for that moment, I was like, maybe I could marry this girl.
Yeah.
She's singing to me and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, I don't know if it's growing up or whatever, but it's like, sometimes in your mind, it's just like, well, if I never find the perfect person, I can marry this person and spend 60 years of my life living, like whatever that, and then, yeah, anyway.
So I didn't have like many notes about the song, mostly the music videos, but I remember the first time I ever really heard like a stereo effect in a song, and it was the song like Living in Stereo by the Cars or something. My stepbrother Gregory was like, listen to this. And I guess like it was pretty new technology at the time to be able to like kind of sweep across from like left to right. And it blew my mind. And this was the first time that I heard something that was like quickly beeping back and forth between left and right, and there was a pattern to it. I remember the first few times I heard the song, it was like through like built-in computer speakers, like on the old, cow box gateway computer. But the first time I ever heard it with headphones on was like, whoa, this is some new age shit. Like I was really into the boop, 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 boop. Like it was so cool to me. And
you got to listen to it on an iPod, man. It's boosted. That's not even a phrase, but it was just like boosted. Convincing yourself like, this is good technology. This is some good technology. I can hear it. You can hear it, when really like the Beatles and Queen and it had been, left to right stuff had been done for like literal decades, but it's like, wow.
But it was either 100% left or 100% right or center. Like there was no in between with the Beatles, which is why like the thing with the Cars, I don't know if it was, but it was like the first time something could gradually move from side to side.
Oh, okay. Little extra level to it.
Yeah. So yeah, anyways. But do you want to get into the music video? Cause we,
I think we're running long, so we might as well at some point here. You are all here for the Postal Service Such Great Heights music video. So we should segue right into that. Those were awesome facts. I got lost in the facts. We were bringing up old memories, old crushes, this and that. Kind of got away from me there for a second. That's how fun those facts were, I got to say.
Yeah, not quite fast, but lots associated with the song. But before we get into the music video, we have to acknowledge our Council of Elders, our emo elders, the Patreon supporters. In our top tier right now, we've got Andre Prevost. Dude, let me know if we're even pronouncing your name properly, please. Like, hit us up on Twitter with the phonetics of your name. But want to thank you so much for being one of our top contributors on Patreon.
Yeah, I don't know if we're pronouncing his name right either, Tom. Andre, the boy Dre. Let's just call him the boy Dre. Thanks to, shout out for being there. Everyone else supporting us on Patreon, super cool, very strangely heartwarming and awesome. So thank you all. Thanks to everyone who listens, everyone who smashes that subscribe button. And it's been a fun, crazy ride that is very nice to be on with all of you. And I'm just going to say it. You can reach us on Twitter at _MNSNFM. I don't even care anymore. I'll say it. Okay. But yes, no, thanks.
And you can check out the Patreon at patreon.com/.
Right. That would have been the appropriate thing to tease, other than just throwing in a quick additional mention of our Twitter handle there. But let's do the music video.
All right.
Let's just say this. I don't know what the is going on in this music video. I think I want to start there.
Dude, they just ripped an episode of how it's made. I swear that's
for the PBS really kids out there that every once in a while old Fred Rogers would toss in a little VHS like into his painting in his living room. Weirdly, I don't really know how that worked. And then we would just get to see how like Laffy Tabbies were made and shit. So, or if that's your favorite reference, I think we're both talking about the same thing here. But yes, yeah, definitely something's being made. We can deconstruct it. I actually don't know if something's being made. No, something's being made. But it has to be very clean. There's white suits. It's spacey. I mean, it feels like space. And then you find out later that they're in space, which is like, okay, this is what? Why? I don't know. Like is there a storyline? Let me start there. Is there a clear storyline to this music video?
I got some Black Mirror vibes from it.
Whoa.
So, yeah, they're in a clean room. It's at a semiconductor fabrication plant, which they're making. It says here silicon wafers, which is, I don't fucking know, processors or something, microprocessors. And the video, it shows very spacey, white, reflective hallways. They're in the bunny suits. They are kind of a two-man operation, it seems like, with robotics.
Yeah, we don't learn that for a while. Like, I thought we were inside a jukebox for a while. I'm like, okay, this is going to expand and make sense at some point. The fact that it doesn't is very frustrating to me, I guess, personally, as watching this. But I was like, okay, we're in a jukebox. Okay, no, we're not. Then it says wafer inspection. I'm like, this is a weird Star Wars knockoff. Like, yeah, give me some wafers. It's like, I don't know, like the droids are cussing each other out with the beeping and booping at the beginning of the song. Is it supposed to be sci-fi? I'm not sure. Then you see a human, and they're like part of the factory process, I guess. You're like, okay, she's making wafers. She's a member of Safeco, was it? Or what is it?
I believe it was called Skyworks Solutions, which is
Skyworks,
again, a real company, which is the weirdest part.
Yeah, that is very strange. And then for a minute, the guy walks in with what appears to be one of those old school like CD holders, which was a very short-lived thing to buy for people for Christmas gifts and stuff. Like,
okay, back up.
Sure. Oh, I'll back way up.
So you said you thought we were in a jukebox. Okay, so the thing they're manufacturing, for people who haven't seen the music video, we're going to put a link to the video in the show notes. They're making what essentially look like the shiny side of CDs without the hole in the middle. And they have them in this stack with like a bunch of like these CDs like a half an inch apart from each other. Did you think they were in a jukebox because that was like what the music was stored on?
I just thought it was artsy. I don't know. Whenever I'm doing, it's kind of like if you're about to, I don't know, play somebody who's a lot better than you at basketball in one-on-one or something. So you try to do more than you can and end up being way worse than you would have been if you just would have tried your normal effort and been like, I believe in myself. You kind of psych yourself out. So I went into this music video like, okay, this shit's about to get weird. All right, this is a Ben Gibbard involved music video, but really it's just a factory where they make CDs. But in my head, I'm like, are we inside the jukebox? But no.
The jukebox is creating itself.
Yeah. It's like, whoa, Ben, you've done it again. But really, they're just manufactured. But it is a little weird because they are in space, as we learn later. So a part of me thought it was artsier maybe than it was. Maybe I'm giving it too much credit, where it's like, wow, they really blew my mind that time because I didn't know what was happening. I think it's just a poorly shot and edited music video, really, at the end of the day. I think I was getting music vibes because there was kind of like the elements of like moving round discs, whether they're albums or CDs or whatever. So I think that's why my mind jumped to that at first.
No, I get that because like if you look at an old jukebox that still plays like the 7-inch vinyl records, they're stored in that like I don't. Yeah,
they're stacked. There's an arm that grabs it, puts it on. But then I was like, okay, they're making them? Question mark. They're making robots to kill Ben Gibbard? No, they're not. But I'm like, okay, this has got to pick up at some point. And then it just kind of doesn't, which is either the most bold artistic decision of all time or just a very boring corporate like manufacturing thing that they were going to sell and rip off the Postal Service with it. No, and by that I mean rip off Ben, be like, you know what, let's just make it super safe and corporate and we'll sell it to Apple or whatever, and Ben Gibbard will never see a dime.
Well, and also, okay, the CD rack, like the people had like the really nice stereo system with like the rack of CDs that you'd put the jewel cases in, and You mentioned that in the notes, and it made me think of like, I remember being like 16 and having this tiny little boombox, and I probably just bought a PlayStation 2, and I bought like a DVD rack for all my PlayStation 2 games, and it was like my most prized possession was like this display for all my cases. And how quaint, dude, everything just sits in a hard drive on my Apple TV now. Like, showing your record collection or your DVD collection was like the best.
I would say when that was a thing, there was like people who tried alphabetical order and people who didn't. I was definitely like, I don't know. I remember my buddy Joe in the neighborhood would have like CDs and DVDs and video games and this and that and that. And he'd always have it so impeccably organized because he's just that type of dude, kind of particular, but proud of the collection as well. But that's just doesn't matter at all anymore, I guess. You know what I mean? Like there's no culture. I mean, I mentioned High Fidelity a lot in the show because I love that movie. But, the guy, he goes over to help him because the guy just had a bad breakup. And he's like, hey, what are you doing? All your records are out. You really shouldn't stack them like that. He's like, yeah, okay, thanks. Anyway, but he's like, well, you're not doing it alphabetically. You're not doing it chronologically. He's like, no, I'm doing it autobiographically. And he's like, no fucking way. So like, and to his point, he's like, I have to retrace my steps to say I was at this point in my life when I was listening to this record. They were like, well, I can stick around and help you out if you want. Anyway, I don't want to like go through the whole movie, even though I do love that movie. But there's the whole culture. Like, what are you going to, you can't really do that within your iPhone or even your. So I guess there's record collections are back, but yeah, I feel like that's definitely kind of a lost thing. The reason I put that in the notes was the guy carries a stack. So I'm like, okay, so these are CDs. That's what kind of lent me to get a better grasp of what was happening. And I just remember that being part of the entertainment system. Like you could get a pretty nice CD holder from like, I don't know, Best Buy or whatever, but be like, oh, this is a nice one. They're going to love that. They've been needing a place to put those. You know, it's like, man, what a short-lived, I hope whoever invented it cashed out and ran for cover immediately, because that was not in demand for very long. Anyway, but yeah, there's a guy and a girl in this lab, kind of just them, right? They're also like the sexual tension, maybe?
Yeah, they kind of, each time they walk past each other, they take turns looking back in slow motion to look at that person again.
There's some looks. I don't want to just assume, but like they're trapped in space, we learn, so it's just them on the ship. So like maybe after work they clock out, and I don't know if we're operating under like that weird space movie with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence rules where there's just like a bar on the ship maybe, but maybe they clock out, maybe they don't. I don't know. But space is vast and lonely, so who's to say? But he hands her some stuff.
That was a great movie with a very confused ending. Anyways.
People had a lot of problems with him waking her up. There was this whole thing. I thought it was a very pleasant movie on like just visually, and it was, you know, but yeah, no, I guess I could see why you would think it was problematic. But
no, I mean, it was great. I loved it. Up until like I thought the ending fizzled out a little bit, but up until that point, I loved
the plants growing and this. Just, I don't know. Visually, I was like, man, it's a pretty movie. But yeah, I could see why people would have problems with it. But anywho,
let me real quick come up with the name. It was called Passengers for the
Passengers. That's Passengers. Right. That's right. When they were, you know, we haven't heard a ton. Oh, I guess Chris Pratt's been super, I mean, they're both still super famous, but they were in almost everything for like a 5.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was like, oh, cool. They're putting, you know, I guess it was just a matter of time. Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt are like the biggest stars in the galaxy right now. So anyway, to me, this is the most interesting part of the music video. In their creating of these CDs, we're in space, I guess, which I guess they will see us. Wait, come down now. I guess like they're trying to like stay true to the lyrics where they're above, looking down, delivering music down onto the earth. But she hits an emo button. It's called. There's like a button that says emo on it. So they're like delivering the emo to the humans in a very spacey way. I don't know if you had thoughts, but it's like, okay, wait, what? You know what I mean? Like Apple signed off on this, dude.
So this confused me for so long. I just felt like that moment cheapened the entire video. And I thought like, this is so uncharacteristic of the genius of Ben Gibbard to have a girl reaching up and pressing an emo button. So after like a week of being like, why would Ben sign off on that? I Googled it. It stands for emergency off. It's like a real button, but I think they were playing into the fact that it just says, a big red button that says emo.
They were definitely playing. Man, your fast facts and fun facts, they're fast and fun. I'm loving them. Very nice research this week, Tom.
Let me tell you. Of
course they were playing into it though, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I even made a GIF that I spent way too long animating. She presses the emo button and a tear just drops down her face.
Well, I took it as I was like, so my wife and I went to Roswell when we were living in New Mexico. We went to the UFO festival and kind of got into it that weekend because, you know, there's no reason to like snicker. It's like, cool, I'll buy in. Let's do the festival. But the kind of a theme was like one of the prevailing theories amongst people who were pretty into that scene, it seemed like, was every element of like human civilization or advancement in technology or even religion or godlike figures coming from the sky, et cetera, was like, in their eyes, had to be when aliens interfered with their own little experiment of the human race or whatever and like helped us along to do certain things technologically. Anyway, it would be hilarious to me if these beings floating above Earth were like, are they ready for emo? Like, are we ready to deliver? We've given them civilization. We've given them flight. But emo is a part of our alien experience that they're going to need to be ready for if we ever actually make contact. So
they're just delivering Vindicated to all of us on CDs.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I guess we would be using. Damn it, that was good. I guess we would be using. Men in Black rules where like, but everyone in disguise are the emo artists. So Chris Carabas is just like really like 12,000 mini aliens just in a human skin suit or something, just here to They're all sitting watching MTV Unplugged from the skies, being like, "We're doing it, we're doing it." Anyway, that was the thought I had real quick. If you'll indulge my idiocy.
Well, okay, I have some thoughts about the emo button because currently there's an emo button in my shopping cart that I want to talk about it in the post show, but I have big plans for the emo button, Pat. I think I might buy one.
Do it.
So if anyone out there knows how to run a Raspberry Pi, hit me up because I've got plans. But we should move on though. Like that'll be post show, whatever. But essentially what happens is we see one of the wafers and it zooms out and it kind of goes through the window and we see that they are operating within a satellite. And again, this is the CGI I was expecting if this whole video was CGI'd, which it's not. But eventually we get like this Google Earth shot and it zooms in, goes through the clouds, and it zooms in on a building, which again is a real building. It's in Salt Lake City. It is used to be called Energy Solutions Arena. It's now the Vivint Smart Home Arena, which I guess is a stadium of some sort. Yeah, it's the NBA plays there. And it shows the roof of the building and it kind of obscures into what is the shape within the wafer that they're manufacturing. And it's kind of like the movie plays over, which makes you think that like everything that happened in this video is a simulation that's running on this microprocessor. And let me look up there's an episode of Black Mirror where I think it's called Hang the DJ, I believe is the one where they are in this like place where you get picked. It's like an arranged marriage type thing. And I don't want to spoil the episode, but basically, well, I am right now. Big spoiler. It's a computer simulation and it keeps running over and over and over and over and over. And it made me think that like each one of these instances, the guy and the girl, do they hook up? Do they not? There's an infinite number of simulations running and they're trying to get a statistic of like how many times maybe they break protocol of like, you're in a satellite with one other person. Don't that person. How many times will they? And everything is like built within, it's like a universe within itself. And that's kind of the vibe that I got from it. And again, that's like wild speculation.
Could life ever be sane again?
Well, it's a wild speculation, like trying to read between the lines, trying to make sense of it. But I don't think the video itself inherently had a big story. It was really playing on the last 5 seconds of the video, and that's all we really got. But if you can kind of build your own story out of it, which may or may not be the purpose, I kind of like it, even though it was just like, here is the inside of a manufacturing facility. They're making wafers, But it was,
Emo wafers. Now I just have Panic by the Smiths in my head because you mentioned Hang the DJ. That's why I said, could life ever be sane again? I was looking at the lyrics real quick.
I don't get the reference at all.
I think it's a British show, and I think they were just maybe using a Morrissey lyric for the title of that Black Mirror episode. But now I do like that song. Panic on the streets of London. Anyway, could life ever be sane again? That was worse. I'll stop. Hang the DJ, hang the DJ, hang the DJ, hang the DJ, hang. Anyway, drink, everybody. Just when you thought I was gonna stop singing, I didn't. All right. You want to start to enter the wind down period, or is there more to analyze other than it was all a simulation? Perhaps that I like that theory is what I'm saying. I think.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I get out of it, and I'm happy with that. I think they really make you sit through it.
I think that's better than aliens are delivering emo to humans with all the other technology. So I think yours was a little more well thought out than mine. I'm like, think about it, wait for it, aliens. Anybody? No.
Right.
Okay. So I like yours a little better. Obviously, you did more research than me. Maybe if I say it louder and keep yelling, I could have a small, very loyal and loud and following that'll be willing to do up for me. We'll be team alien theory, and we'll never mind. It was taking a just spiraling, man. That's the whole show. Now I'm too self-aware of it, and I don't like it. So I'm going to need you to
Well, let's
finish
give a
the
song
show
of the
while
week
I
then.
dig a hole, climb in, and bury myself in it.
All right. Well, hit us up on Twitter @_Reminiscent FM. Who introduced you to the song? Did you like it? Did your youth pastor have to beg you to reconsider? Let us know. But songs of the week, you wanna do it?
I would like to do it, and because I'm a gentleman, I'm going to let you go first, Tom.
Oh, thank you. So Katy Perry put out a new album called Smile. The penultimate song, Only Love, is pretty good. It's pretty emotional. We had just recorded the Lying on the Floor draft yesterday to give a peek behind the curtain, and I was listening to this like immediately afterwards, and it just put me into a place. But pretty like just okay album overall. The singles are good, obviously, but second to last song is pretty good. So
Pretty good.
I'll make it that.
I'm going to go back to The Well of the Killers, Imploding the Mirage. Track 3, Dying Breed. I know I already used track 1 as a song of the week a couple weeks ago. Getting pretty good reviews. I like the Killers. I don't know. I like the Killers. So that's what's happening in my brain lately.
All right. Well, you can check out our playlist for all the songs of the week. At the end of the month, we do kind of a roundup, all the bands that sponsored episodes, all of the songs of the week, and any songs we talk about in the show, we make a playlist. So you can find our August Songs of the Week playlist at reminiscentpodcast.com/playlists. And you can find the show notes for this episode at reminiscentpodcast.com/episode/188. But for right now, we're going to head over to the post show, and I want to talk about my plans for the emo button. So I'm really excited about it.
Nice tease.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, man. Well, we love you all, and thank you for being here. It truly means the world to us. And hit us up on Twitter. That's kind of the part we love most about doing the show. So we'll catch you there.
We will catch you there. Thanks, everybody. Love you, Tom.
All right. Love you too, man. See ya. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much, as always, for being here. It's truly an honor to talk with you every week about our favorite songs, favorite bands, favorite music videos. You can hit us up on Twitter @_reminiscentfm. Discuss the show with us. Let us know what episodes you'd like us to do in the future. We've got a list of everything you've been requesting, and we're going to get through all of them. You can check out the Patreon post show at patreon.com/reminiscent. Well, we love you all. Please stay safe, stay emo. We'll talk to you next week. Bye, everyone.